Lesson 5 for October 26 through to November 1, Violating the Spirit of the Law, read by Dr. Percy Harold. Friday, November 1. From the book Prophets and Kings, page 648, we read, As Nehemiah heard of this cruel oppression, his soul was filled with indignation. I was very angry, he says, when I heard their cry and these words. I saw that if he succeeded in breaking up the oppressive custom of exaction, he must take a decided stand for justice. With characteristic energy and determination, he went to work to bring relief to his brethren. End of quote. And then, from Thoughts from the Mount of Blessing, page 67, Jesus proceeded to lay down a principle that would make oath-taking needless. He teaches that the exact truth should be the law of speech. Let your speech be yea, yea, nay, nay, and whatsoever is more than this is of the evil one. And then, from the same book, page 68, these words condemn all those meaningless phrases and expletives that border on profanity. They condemn the deceptive compliments, the evasion of truth, the flattering phrases, the exaggerations, the misrepresentations in trade that are current in society and in the business world. They teach that no one who tries to appear what he is not, or whose words do not convey the real sentiment of his heart, can be called truthful. End of quote. And that brings us to our 4 discussion questions for this week. 1. Why does selfishness lie at the core of our human problems when dealing with finances and interpersonal relationships? 2. How can God's people avoid greediness? What is God's provision for it? Study the following texts: Isaiah 58, 3-12, and Micah 6, verses 6-8. First of all, Isaiah 58, beginning at verse 3. Why have we fasted, they say, and you have not seen? Why have we afflicted our souls, and you take no notice? In fact, in the day of your fast you find pleasure, and exploit all your labourers. Indeed, you fast for strife and debate, and to strike with the fist of wickedness. You will not fast, as you do this day, to make your voice heard on high. Is it a fast that I have chosen, a day for a man to afflict his soul? Is it to bow down his head like a bulrush, and to spread out sackcloth and ashes? Would you call this a fast and an acceptable day to the Lord? Is this not the fast that I have chosen, to loose the bonds of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, to let the oppressed go free, and that you break every yoke? Is it not to share your bread with the hungry, and that you bring to your house the poor who are cast out? When you see the naked, that you cover him, and not hide yourself from your own flesh? Then your light shall break forth like the morning, your healing shall spread forth speedily, and your righteousness shall go before you. The glory of the Lord shall be your rear guard. Then you shall call, and the Lord will answer. You shall cry, and he will say, Here I am. If you take away the yoke from your midst, the pointing of the finger and speaking wickedness, if you extend your soul to the hungry and satisfy the afflicted soul, then your light shall dawn in the darkness, and your darkness shall be as the noonday. The Lord will guide you continually, and satisfy your soul in drought, and strengthen your bones. You shall be like a watered garden, and like a spring of water whose waters do not fail. Those from among you shall build the old waste places. You shall raise up the foundations of many generations, and you shall be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of streets to dwell in. And Micah chapter 6, beginning at verse 6. With what shall I come before the Lord, and bow myself before the high God? Shall I come before him with burnt offerings, with calves a year old? Will the Lord be pleased with thousands of rams, 10,000 rivers of oil? Shall I give my firstborn for my transgression, the fruit of my body for the sin of my soul? He has shown you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you, but to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God? 3. Dwell more on the gift of speech and the power of our words. What does John 1, verses 1 and 2 mean when it calls Jesus the Word? How does this help us understand the importance of words and what they mean? John 1, beginning at verse 1, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God." And 4, it's amazing that thousands of years ago, Jesus said that the poor would always be among us. We also are admonished to help those in need. How do these two ideas fit together in helping motivate Christians to work for those who are less fortunate? Inside Story. Our mission story this week is titled Stubborn Wife, and it's by Andrew McChesney of Adventist Mission. Convinced that Saturday is the biblical Sabbath, business owner Zelindo Jao Lay informed his wife he would leave their Sunday church in Los Palos, East Timor. "What? Are you crazy?" exclaimed his wife, Dulce. "First you close our 2 mini-marts on Saturday, and now you want to leave the church? Why?" "I have found the truth in the Bible," he said. Dulce refused to discuss the matter any more. "From now on, you go to your way and I'll go mine," she said. She stopped cooking for Zelindo and sometimes locked him out of the house. Zelindo cried and prayed. "What is happening to me? I found the truth in the Bible, but now my wife wants a divorce because I'm following the Bible's teaching about the Sabbath." In the mornings, Dulce went to their larger mini-mart as usual, and Zelindo watched their young son at home. He took the noon to 9 p.m. shift at the shop, and Dulce returned home to be with their son. One morning, Zelindo prayed, "If you want me to leave my church, show me a miracle." At noon, he walked into the shop and was shocked to find Dulce reading the Bible. He had never seen her read the Bible before. He saw she was reading about the woman and dragon in Revelation 12. "Darling, if you don't understand what you are reading, I can explain it to you," he said. Dulce abruptly slammed his hand onto the desk. The loud noise drew stares from customer. Dulce started crying. "Why did they lie to us?" she said. "Why did they hide this from us?" Zelindo hugged her. "Thank you, God, for answering my prayer," he said. "I have seen a miracle." On Saturday, the family went to a Seventh-day Adventist church for the first time. Later, Zelindo and his wife were baptized into the Adventist church. Zelindo, 42, said God has blessed beyond measure, as he had sought to honour him at work. He stopped selling alcohol, tobacco, coffee and tea, and he changed the employment rules. In addition to salaries, he provided employees with room and board. He asks them to worship with him every morning and evening and to attend Bible studies once a week. Zelindo prays every day, "I want to use this business to praise you. Help me to bring people to you." The employees have expressed amazement as they study the Bible. "What you are teaching us from the Bible is really true," they say. Zelindo, whose picture is here on the left, said God has blessed his business beyond his biggest hopes. 8 employees have been baptized in 4 years. Part of the 2015 13th Sabbath offering helped build the first Seventh-day Adventist church in East Timor's capital, Dili. Thank you for your mission offering. This week's lesson has been read by Dr. Percy Harold from Queensland, Australia. It is brought to you by Hope Channel, the Sabbath School Department, and through the services of Christian Services for the Blind. A video of this podcast also occurs on YouTube. Remember, God is always faithful.